Well, y'all, today is kind of a monumentous day. After saying I would never go back into an office full time, today is my last day as a remote employee. I'm starting with a new company tomorrow. And while the in-office 100% of the time thing does not necessarily thrill me, I will say what trumps that is the fact that I am so grateful to actually have a job, because the alternative could have been far worse. So I am very grateful for it. It's just, this is going to be a big change, a big adjustment. I have been remote off and on for like the last 5 years. I mean, really since COVID, so it's 2020. So, and in there were stints when I was in an office full time, but they were actually far less than the time that I was a remote employee. So, like I said, the biggest thing is I am super grateful to have a job. I am really, I really like the 2 managers that will be overseeing me. And, I think as in any place, you just learn and you keep learning, and, it's one of the things that makes it so great. But, it's definitely an adjustment. I'm sort of coming to terms with this fact that, I won't be able to, prep dinner in the afternoon, get it done early and things like that. So it's going to require more planning. But I have spent the last week or 2 doing things like meal prepping, just preparing us for what I anticipate is going to be much crazier weeknights. And, so I think I've prepared well. But again, I mean, it is an adjustment. Most of the years that my daughter could remember, again, where she was truly cognizant of what's going on and things like that, I've been a remote employee. So, this is an adjustment for her too. But we're going to go into it with having grace for ourselves, I think. And, just embracing the adventure. And I mean, really honestly, the blessing that this has been. I found this job, I feel like, in record time. And even though it was a massive pay cut, it still provides, right, for our needs. And, I've had to just kind of have a mindset shift around a lot of that stuff. But at the end of the day, I am so grateful to be working. I believe that the environment is truly supportive, and I hope that's, that's what it is. So this is a day. Today is technically my last day with my former employer. And so I am working a bit today, but also just kind of taking elongated breaks to do things like dishes and laundry and just get us set up really good for the start of our week tomorrow. Because again, even though today's Monday, tomorrow starts the new routine. I am kind of grateful though that it starts on a Tuesday. So then again, it's a 4-day week, it's a little bit shorter. And that always kind of helps whenever you're especially taking on new information. As far as the farm goes, I honestly couldn't tell you what's going to happen with that. I am totally, hope for the best, plan for the worst type thing. And I think, worst case scenario, I would have to pare back gardening. Obviously the chickens are what the chickens are. And, actually they're pretty low maintenance. I do still have those roosters that I need to cull. But you know, worst case scenario, I won't be doing high tunnel, all of that, you know, or doing it on a very pared back scale this coming season. Best case scenario, like I will be able to just go gangbusters with it. You know, obviously with summertime, there's more daylight at night. So just being able to, you know, take extra time in the evening. Kiddo is going to take a couple months off of some of her after school activities. Just, again, to give us room to kind of adjust and see what's what. So yeah, and I did really want goats in the spring, but, you know, again, it's one of those things, I'm just going to have to play it by ear. I just don't know how prudent it would be to get an animal that requires daily attention, and also has a reputation for being a Houdini. If I am not physically here to be chasing and corralling it, we'll see what happens. I don't feel good about like getting goats. And then again, everyone I know that has ever had goats said they have gotten out of every structure that you could possibly build for them. And so, you know, for me, it's just kind of a matter of like, do I feel good about leaving them? Do I feel like maybe, I don't know, like maybe it wouldn't be a good idea in case they get out. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. But I know it's been a little bit since I posted, and just wanted to give an update. And I want to make sure, you know, again, like I'm just being a good steward of what we have, being faithful in the small things before we start trying to push the envelope on stuff. And so we're just going to ease into this new routine of ours. I don't think that just because I'm taking a job out of the home that means like I can't garden and I can't do these things that I enjoy. I do think sometimes though it means like just learning what the volume of those things look like, and again, like what's realistic and what's not. So it's like, okay, if I can't manage 30 tomato plants, I can manage 5, you know, that kind of thing. And so just learning in those areas where it's better to scale back and maybe in that way learn a little bit of humility versus trying to do it all the time. But we're doing really well. Things are really starting to feel much more normal. We're getting into the Christmas season, which is always so wonderful. And just, we end up doing a lot of things with like family and church and all of that. And it just really is such a joyful time. And I think this Christmas in particular, you know, it's like filling our free time with like things that we enjoy, but making sure also that there is a lot of rest that happens in these winter months, because, you know, again, even though we may not be farming or growing or raising animals and doing that at like the insane scale that we were, it does, you know, like things do tend to ramp up in the spring and summer. So again, really just taking this time to enjoy the quieting of the season. But I hope y'all are doing well. I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. Again, like we really enjoyed ours. And I hope y'all have a good week. Happy Monday to you. Catch you on the next one.